This loser who couldn't even get a single girlfriend in school suddenly learns on his birthday that all his 5 beautiful sisters are not his real sisters, and then everything changes, as now each of the sisters starts developing romantic feelings towards him but cannot express directly. The story begins with the introduction of the Shiunji family, which is extremely wealthy and also had a mansion where many servants help them with their daily needs. All 7 beautiful siblings of the Shiunji family lived together in this mansion. Then we see Arata, who is 16 years old and the eldest heir of the family. He was having breakfast with his 15-year-old brother. Arata was too stressed about not having a girlfriend as he was the heir of the Shiunji family, so he decided to ask his brother how he got a girlfriend. To that, Shion just replies that, "It just happened." Arata, however, keeps pressing for more details. Shion says, "I know you're the eldest brother, but that doesn't mean you have to put so much pressure on yourself. And what about the girl you liked?" Arata replies that he's taking small steps. Shion then tells him that he is the eldest son of the Shinji family, he can make any girl his girlfriend, but Arata didn't trust his luck that much. Just then, all 5 sisters enter the scene and start asking about what the 2 of them were talking. The first sister is Uka, the second is Seiha, third is Minami, fourth is Kotono, and the eldest of them all is Banri. Uka and Seiha quickly guessed what Arata was talking about and even started teasing him. To add fuel to the fire, Shion suddenly tell them that Arata was praising Uka's figure. Hearing this, of course, Uka gets furious and sends her dog to bite Arata. On one side, Arata's suffering doesn't end, and on the other, his sisters were making fun of him. Even when he tries to explain, no one listens. During this, we also learn about an incident called roommate incident, which was quite shocking for everyone. They then start discussing how even having dirty thoughts about one's sisters is completely unacceptable. But the eldest sister Banri pokes at all of their weaknesses and silences them all. Then Minami says that their big brother is actually a really good person, which makes Arata really happy, and he suddenly goes to hug her but Minami knocks him out with a single punch. We also learn that Minami was going to be an Olympic athlete in the future and she was taking physical classes, so she punched him on instinct. Uka asks if everyone is free on Saturday because they plan to go out to celebrate Kotono's birthday. Shion tell them that he's busy since he has a date, but no one even asks for Arata's opinion. Next, we see the train station following day, where all eyes were on the 5 sisters, as seeing them all together was like witnessing a miracle. On top of that, each of them had their own fan clubs. Meanwhile, Shion was also quite popular among the girls, but it was just opposite for Arata as he was famous among the boys for his muscles. Then scene changes to school restroom, where Shion and Arata were talking. Everyone usually sees them with the girls, but no one knew how much they had to suffer daily. At home, even if they get beaten up by the sisters, they can't fight back, and their parents always side with the girls, which is why both brothers have been bullied a lot since childhood. We then get more details about their sisters. The eldest, Banri, is a freshman at a prestigious university and is training to become a nurse. The next sister, Seiha, is the president of the science club and holds the first rank in the entire school. She's super cool and talented, which is why she has a lot of fans. Next is Uka, who outshines everyone both academically and athletically. She's a star of the swimming and tracking clubs and is also expected to become the next student council president, which makes her very popular. Fourth is Minami, a prodigy who has won the junior high tennis championship 3 times in a row and is set to become an Olympic athlete, making her very famous. Lastly, the 5th sister is Kotono, since she is very cute and introverted, but she's also extremely popular. Then Shion starts revealing how Kotono had once even confessed her love to Arata, and Arata became completely nervous and says, "That was just something between siblings." Right after that, we're shown the girl that Arata actually likes. The scene then shifts to their home, where Arata was wondering whether he should send a friend request to Lala, but then he cancels the plan, thinking, what if she rejects me? Just then, Uka enters his room to borrow Arata's notes. When she sees his notes, she was surprised because everything was written so neatly. At that moment, Arata's eyes points to a very wrong place, and he tells Uka, "You should wear clothes that cover you up a little more." Uka replies, "This is my house. And anyway, we've been bathing together since we were kids, so what exactly haven't you seen?" Arata was left speechless after this reply. Then, Uka suddenly asks, "So, who's the girl you like?" "I know it's Lala, right?" Hearing this, Arata becomes furious, assuming Shion must have told her. Uka then tries to send Lala a friend request to help Arata, but he stops her from doing so, due to which Uka gets angry and storms off after scolding Arata harshly. Meanwhile, we see Kotono, who was staring at Arata in a family photo. The scene shifts to the next day after school. Arata was lost in thoughts, wondering, what if I hadn't been born into the Shinji family? Or what if I didn't had 5 sisters? Would my future have been different? Suddenly, he sees Lala in front of him, that too with another guy. Then we're shown a scene at their home. Arata steps out of his room because it was his sister's birthday party. He sees Uka, who was dressed very nicely. She says, "Dad always says if you're not properly dressed, you won't get anything." Then she compliments Arata too. Everyone gathers at the dining table. Arata was still lost in thought about things like his future, marriage, and kids. Then a fight breaks out between Minami and Uka because Minami misplaced Uka's earbuds. Everyone starts worrying and tries to calm them down. But suddenly Arata yells loudly and tells them to stop saying, "We are siblings." Hearing this, both girls get embarrassed, and everyone becomes cheerful again. Just then, their father enters and he was very happy to see all of them together. As they're about to start eating, he says, "Before we eat, I have something very important to tell you. I decided a long time ago to reveal this on Kotono's 15th birthday." He continues, "Let me say this again, I truly love all of you. But the truth is, you are not real siblings." After hearing this, silence fills the room. Everyone is shocked. Then their father casually adds, "You're all adopted. Only Minami and Cheyenne are twins and blood-related. The rest of you are not. I made this decision after discussing it with your mother. From now on, I will never lie to you again." He tells them to continue the birthday celebration, but all of them were still deeply shocked. After dinner, we see the siblings gathered together. Minami doesn't seem too affected and was acting normal, like always. Then they begin talking about how, even if they're not blood-related, after spending so much time together, they truly feel like real siblings. They also agree that they can't blame their father, but he could have picked a better time to reveal the truth. Seiha then asks Banri, "Do you remember anything? Kotono came home when you were 5 years old." Banri tells her that she doesn't remember much of her childhood memories, but her reaction suggests that she does remember something, she just doesn't want to tell anyone. After that, they all start joking around about the topic. Banri says, "Even if we're not related by blood, after being together so long, we're no less than real siblings." Everyone then returns to their rooms. Arata was still trying to process everything and can't believe so much has happened in a single day. As he heads to the bath, he accidentally comes across his sister's garments and feels a bit awkward. Ignoring them, he enters the bath and there, he sees Kotono. As soon as they see each other, both Arata and Kotono get very nervous, and Arata immediately runs outside. He says, "Are you some kind of ninja? At least make some noise." Arata was about to leave when Kotono suddenly stops him and says she wants help. Then we see that Arata starts helping her bathe and says, "You're in 3rd year now and still need help with bathing? If your classmates find out, they'll laugh at you." He then starts giving her instructions on how to bathe properly. But suddenly Kotono says, "I really like your strength." Arata doesn't react much and tells her not to stay inside for too long and begins to leave. On the other side, we see Uka and Cheyenne talking about how today felt nothing short of an adventure. They also feel bad for Kotono since she had to hear such a big revelation on her birthday. Since she's the youngest, they feel it's their responsibility to support her. Meanwhile, the scene changes to bathroom and we see Kotono hugging Arata from behind, which scares Arata badly. On the other side, when Uka hears about sibling marriage, she was disgusted, calling it gross. Cheyenne clarifies that he was just giving an example, and sibling marriages aren't even legal anyway. Then Cheyenne starts talking a lot of nonsense, which gives Uka the chills. She tells him that Arata was giving her weird looks, and even commented on her clothes. Cheyenne was a bit shocked after hearing this, but then Uka asks what happened between Arata and Kotono in the gaming room, since she saw that Arata was pinning Kotono down. Cheyenne says he knows the whole story, but it's a secret and Arata told him not to tell anyone. Uka makes up a story that maybe Arata's lust overflowed and he started making moves on his sister, but she's sure there's more to the story. Cheyenne doesn't respond at first, but eventually tells her everything, that Kotono confessed her love to Arata and forcibly held him down. Uka was completely shocked by this and starts shouting. Cheyenne calms her down and tells her that Arata obviously rejected Kotono. Uka finds it hard to believe, since she never thought Kotono would have feelings for Arata. Cheyenne explains that kids at that age often mistake respect for love. Uka snaps and tells him that, "You're just 1 year older than her, stop talking nonsense." Cheyenne had nothing to say to that, but the real problem was now that Kotono knows they aren't real siblings, who knows what she'll do. Then we see Kotono confessing her love again to Arata, but he tries to reject her. Kotono asks him, "Why? Am I a bad girl?" She tells him that she even researched that step-siblings can legally marry. Arata tells her, "That's not the issue. You're a wonderful girl." But during puberty, kids often mistake respect for love. Even though we aren't blood related, I'm still your big brother, and it's my responsibility to protect you. He says this and walks away. Kotono was left thinking, I wish someone would tell me how long this puberty is supposed to last. Just then, we see that someone else who overheard their conversation outside the bathroom. The scene changes and we see their father, who was standing in front of their late mother's photo, saying he has fulfilled his promise. But just then Banri shows up. On the other side, when Arata returns to his room, he finds Seiha there. He asks, what are you doing here? Seiha instead asks him, where did you go? Arata gets nervous and tell her that he was just out walking, but Seiha doesn't believe him. Arata then asks her, but what are you doing in my room? That's more important right now. But Seiha doesn't answer and moves close to him, pushes him down, and climbs on top of him. After seeing all this, Arata completely freaks out. He starts shouting, what on earth are you doing? Seiha says, this is going to be our top secret, and then she suddenly clings tightly to Arata. Arata starts thinking, after Kotono, now her? Why is she going crazy too? But then Seiha reveals the truth. She had seen both Arata and Kotono in the bathroom and was currently just testing Arata to make sure he wouldn't do anything inappropriate with Kotono. Hearing this, Arata totally panics and asks how much she saw. Seiha tells him that she saw everything. She even starts repeating things Arata had said. Arata realizes that she just wanted to protect her sister, but still thinks there must have been a better way to do this. Seiha then explains, do you know that sibling marriage is illegal in our country? One of the primary reasons is social customs, and biologically too, there's a higher chance that children born from close relatives may be weak, which is why marriage among close relatives is prohibited. Now that their dad told them they're not real siblings, they have to see how long Kotono will accept this just in words. From a physical perspective, it's technically possible because they're not blood related. Hearing all this, Arata was completely shocked, but then Seiha adds, at least one thing's clear, you're normal, and walks away. After all that, Arata starts thinking about everything that just happened. So much had occurred in just one day. For 16 years, they'd all lived as siblings, and suddenly they find out they're not blood related. Then scene shifts to the next morning. Arata gets ready for school, but he sees that Banri has made Kotono wear her nursing home uniform, and she starts teasing Arata too. Arata gets angry hearing that, and Banri even starts crying a little. After some teasing and messing around, they all leave for school. At school, Arata and Cheyenne talk about how much happened yesterday, and yet their sisters are acting totally normal like nothing even happened. Meanwhile, everyone else was just as happy to see them as usual. Cheyenne says that no one has any idea they're not real siblings, and who knows how people would react if they found out. Then we see scenes from school, where the day goes by normally for all the siblings. After school, Arata was about to leave, but he was still stuck thinking about everything and can't get it out of his head. At that moment, Minami shows up. Arata notices how cheerful she is as always, like nothing happened yesterday. Then they leave together, and Arata compliments Minami. She says she's just following her passion and also compliments Arata for being good at sports. Arata denies it, but just then, 3 of Minami's fangirls show up. They shower her with compliments and even ask for her autograph. After they leave, since they had nothing else to do, Arata suggests, instead of going home, why don't we go to karaoke? Minami gets a bit nervous at first but then confesses the real reason she's off from club activities is because she failed the aptitude test. After listening this, he tells her that, I'm going to tutor you. Then we see them at karaoke, where Arata was teaching Minami. Minami says she's understanding everything, but when Arata tests her, she can't answer a single question. That's when Minami suddenly starts singing a song. The lyrics were really funny because she was singing about how she never wants to study and only wants to play tennis. Hearing her song, Arata starts laughing too and begins to enjoy himself. He thinks about how cheerful Minami is no matter the situation, so there's no need to worry about her. After they leave, Arata spots the girl he likes and hides immediately. Minami notices this. After she walks away, Arata tells her that she should focus more on her studies, but Minami says, you know how unexpected yesterday was. Arata then asks for her opinion, and Minami says she's curious about who her real parents are. She also says she's worried about her little sister. And on top of that, you're not even my real older brother anymore, which means, I could even start calling you senpai now. Hearing that, Arata was surprised. Then Minami says, even if the girl you like already has a boyfriend, you shouldn't be discouraged. Arata asks, how do you know about that? Minami says, I heard it from Uka, which drives Arata crazy. After that, Minami compliments Arata a little, but Arata tells her that once they get home, she still has to study, something that's a nightmare for Minami. Next day we see Arata who runs into Kotono early in the morning. But apart from saying, "Good morning," there's not much of a conversation between them. Arata starts thinking about how since that incident, they've only met a few times, but she's still acting the same as always. Did she get upset? But just then, Seiha shows up and scolds Arata for daydreaming. Arata was surprised to see her, and they begin talking about Kotono, but before they can go further, Minami shows up. She reminds Arata how she beat him several times in the game the previous day. And because she's calling him senpai. Now Seiha was also shocked and says, "Senpai is someone more mature." Then they head off to school. Next, we see Arata reaching school, and there he spots his crush, so he again quickly hides. Uka tells him, "Why don't you just confess already?" To which Arata replies, "She already has a boyfriend." Hearing this, Uka laughs and says, "You got rejected even before confessing." Then she walks away to join her classmates. On the other side, Arata starts thinking about how she was always surrounded by people, and everyone seems to really like her. But he wishes people could also see her real personality. Meanwhile, Uka's classmates begin talking about Arata, how handsome he is, how amazing his physique is, and they even start asking Uka for permission to confess to him. Hearing this, Uka becomes nervous and says, "You shouldn't do that, he's completely crazy. All he cares about is his body all day." Then next day, all the siblings go to an amusement park. Everyone was really excited as they're there to celebrate Kotono's birthday. But since Minami was hungry, Banri says, "Okay, I'll go get some food," and takes Arata with her. After getting the food, they realize that everyone else has already disappeared. Arata tries calling them one by one, but no one picks up the phone. Seeing this, Banri says, "Well, let's just go on a date, just the two of us." Arata asks, "What about the food?" Then we see Arata carry all the food by himself. While walking, Banri suddenly holds Arata's hand, and seeing this, Arata was completely shocked. During all this, things become quite awkward for Arata. And because of all this, Banri teases Arata a lot. Afterwards they start walking around normally, but Arata realizes that everyone around was staring at them because his sister was extremely beautiful and also had a lot of fans. Then they go on a roller coaster. While I can't say much about Arata, Banri really enjoys the ride. After it ends, Arata tries calling others again. On the other side, we see his siblings enjoying a show. After it ends, Cheyenne tries calling Arata, but this time, Arata doesn't pick up because he had already gone on the next ride. Eventually, they try calling again and finally get through, only to learn that the rest of the group is really far away. That basically means Arata and Banri will have to enjoy the park on their own. Arata starts guessing. I can guarantee she's going to say, "Let's treat this like a date." Then we see the evening scene, where Arata and Banri were sitting together at the food court. They talk about how they still haven't met up with their siblings, but strangely, they're not worried at all. Since Banri was already hungry, she decides to eat the leftover food. Meanwhile, Arata begins to have flashbacks. Then Arata asks Banri for her opinion about the whole, not being real siblings situation. Banri explains that even for her, it was a huge surprise and she had talked to their father about it too. She asks Arata, "Is that why you seem so down lately?" Arata thinks to himself that he can't tell her about certain incidents, so instead he says, "Yeah, it's a bit uneasy for me too, but I hope nothing changes between us." Hearing that, Banri becomes really happy and praises him. She even recalls the times when Arata used to come crying to her whenever Uka bullied him, something that doesn't make Arata very happy now that he's in high school. After that, they start having more grown-up conversations which, I guarantee, you probably wouldn't understand, but suddenly a little girl shows up and disrupts the moment. Suddenly, as juice was about to spill on Banri, Arata jumps in front of her and saves her. The girl who spilled it panics, but Arata assures her it's fine. Banri tells him, "You didn't need to do all that." But Arata replies, "I want to protect you too, because I'm your little brother." Hearing this, Banri becomes very emotional and happy too because her little brother was growing up. Finally, the whole family reunites, and everyone was shocked to see that Arata is completely soaked. After that, everyone decides they're going to explore more places. When they reach the bridge, Uka starts acting like a princess, while Minami acts like a prince. Meanwhile, Arata, Cheyenne, and Kotono head off to the bathroom. On the other side, others start having a secret conversation. Seiha tells them about the bathroom incident, which shocks everyone. But the real surprise comes when Seiha reveals that she had tested Arata and he passed because he showed no physical reaction. Hearing that, the girls get confused and ask how exactly she tested him. Once they learn the details, it shocks them even more. Uka even asks, "Didn't you have any other method?" Of course, all this overwhelming information was a huge shock for the three girls. Then they start talking about all three of them, Arata, Seiha, and Kotono, and they realize they can't really blame them because this information was dropped on them very suddenly. The main reason behind all this, of course, is that they're not blood-related. But Banri tells them not to take things too seriously because Kotono is still a child. Then she explains how she once talked to Dad about her background, and the truth is, all of them are orphans. None of them knows who their real parents are. She suggests that for now, they should just observe things. Just then, the rest of the siblings return, and they all drop the topic and suggest going to the haunted house next. On the other hand, we see Uka looking very quiet and thoughtful. Meanwhile, Arata reflects on the moment he first heard the truth. At first, he thought he had misheard something. But he's sure that even Dad must have been deeply worried before telling them all this, especially since he had hidden it for so long, which must have been difficult. Arata then says, "Don't worry, Dad. Nothing is going to change." Afterward, we see all the siblings were shopping. Arata was standing outside the shop when he suddenly spots his crush with her boyfriend. At the same moment, Uka also walks out, and Arata gets really nervous. Then they both go for a walk, where Uka says, "I need to tell you something. You know that until 3 days ago, we were twins, but now, everything has changed." Hearing this, Arata says, "Don't say that. I still see you as my twin." Uka replies, "If you keep denying the truth, you're just going to look like a fool." She continues, "Do you remember when we were little? We used to think we had telepathy because we were twins. We could read each other's thoughts. And even our rock-paper-scissors games always ended in ties. Everyone used to say, 'You two really are twins.' But then Uka suddenly says, 'I love you.'" Hearing this, Arata was again completely stunned. Suddenly we see a flashback, where Arata was talking to Cheyenne at school. Cheyenne asks, "Do you see our sisters as ordinary girls? Now that we know they are not blood-related." And this directly means that they are close female friends. Even Kotono had now confessed her love, but Arata refuses and asks Cheyenne that this also applies to you. Cheyenne replies, "I already have a girlfriend." And since he was calling his girlfriend by her first name, Arata starts asking if something happened between them. Cheyenne says that there's always something going on between them. Then the scene returns to the present, where after confessing, Uka says, "I just wanted to say this, I'm really happy I was your sister at some point. But I found out about what happened between you and Kotono from Cheyenne." She adds, "I have to say, you handled things very well because Kotono is still very young, and it's not her fault at all." Then she leaves. Arata starts thinking, what nonsense did she just say? And is she really worried about our future relationship? Remembering Cheyenne's words, he gets very frustrated because he starts thinking all kinds of strange things. On the other side, we see Uka, who can't believe she said all that. Then the scene shifts to the next morning, where Arata was training, but just then, Minami enters. After seeing her, Arata gets very surprised as Minami wakes up very late, and Arata wonders why she came so early that day. Then we see a scene from the previous night. As soon as she goes out, she sees Uka confessing her love, which shocks her a lot, but she doesn't disturb them. Back in the present, Minami's mind was confused, wondering whether she should ask about it or not, because maybe she misheard something. But her curiosity was eating her up. In the end, she musters up the courage and asks, "Is there something going on between you and Uka?" Arata at first doesn't understand her question, but then again Minami says, "Nothing happened, don't worry." Now Arata was curious about what she wants to talk about. Minami tells him not to worry and leaves, saying she will exercise in the evening. Then we see Arata was still thinking about Minami's question, wondering why she asked and if everything is really okay. He was about to go shower but notices Seiha in the mirror and suddenly gets very shy. He tells Seiha to lock the door. Seiha replies, "We've been together for so long, yet you still get disturbed even though you've seen me many times." Arata thinks, "My sisters are really crazy." Then he thinks about Seiha, who hasn't changed at all even after the incident. It seems she has no problem with blood relations. Then he sees a ring, his mom's, and asks Seiha about it. Seiha explains that it is their mom's memento. Later, we see a scene where Arata was in his room, but then Banri enters. Banri talks about how she was coming into her little brother's room after almost 2 years and even praises Arata for keeping his room very clean. Arata doesn't understand why she's in his room, but then Banri starts reading something cute about the perfect girlfriend on Arata's laptop. Then Banri reveals the real reason for her visit and asks Arata to go on a date with her. After that, we see them at a mobile shop because Arata wanted to buy a new phone for a long time but never got the chance. But then Banri clings to Arata again, making him very embarrassed. She also says that they should go to a hotel after dinner to stay overnight, which makes Arata freak out and he tell her to stop this nonsense. He starts thinking about how Banri always does these weird things. Just then, a lady arrives and says if they buy the phones as a couple with a monthly fee, they will get a discount. Hearing this, Banri gets very excited and agrees, but Arata immediately refuses. After finishing shopping, they go for a walk. Arata thinks about how she teases him all the time. Then they go to eat ice cream. Then Banri asks Arata if anything is troubling him right now, but he refuses to answer and starts talking about his family again. Hearing this, Banri says she is very happy to have such a strong brother and tells him that if he ever has any problem, he should definitely tell her. After that, we see a scene at their house where Kotono was checking photos, especially those with Arata. Then, Banri uploads a photo in their sister's group where she and Arata were enjoying ice cream. Seeing this, Kotono gets a little jealous but is happy to see them having fun and even saves the photo. On the other side, we see that they finish the ice cream, and Banri starts asking where they should go next. But then she gets a message and says she has to leave because she got some work, which surprises Arata. He asks, "Don't you have any other guy you can date?" Hearing this, Banri gets very surprised and threatens him not to say such nonsense. Then we see Banri talking to Minami, telling her nothing seemed unusual. After that, they hang up the phone. Hearing this, Minami was shocked because she was sure she heard everything perfectly, but she doesn't understand how everything can be normal since a love confession between siblings is a big deal. Then she sends a message to Banri, saying maybe she heard something wrong and maybe nothing happened between Arata and Uka. After sending the message, she realizes she sent it to the group by mistake, so she immediately deletes it and hopes no one saw the message. But then suddenly, Uka enters the bathroom, telling her to leave quickly. Seeing Uka, Minami gets very nervous, but Uka doesn't understand anything, which clearly means Uka didn't see the message. But unfortunately, someone else did and that person was very shocked. In the next scene we see dinner time where Arata notices that Seiha wasn't eating and seems lost in thoughts. Even after dinner, she was still thinking about something. After that, Arata meets Seiha, but since she was very quiet, Arata says, "If you have any problem, you can tell me. After all, I'm your brother." While saying this, he feels very awkward, but on the other side, Seiha feels very happy and says, "Looks like you're getting into the flow." Then we see that Seiha wants to play a game of Twister with Arata. Arata doesn't understand why she wants to play this game, but then he guesses that she must have bought it online and now she doesn't know what to do with the game. Seiha says that last time when she went to Arata's room, she got very excited, and if she doesn't clear her feelings, it could be a big risk for her because her university exams are coming soon. Hearing this, Arata was shocked and asks how she can say all this. Seiha says that if her feelings go beyond a brother-sister relationship, things could become very problematic. So it's better to clear things beforehand. And since she is his elder sister, she is sure he won't have any problem helping her. Hearing this, Arata starts thinking, does she also like me? But then Seiha suddenly starts the game, and Arata says, "I never said I want to play this game." But Seiha reminds him how she helped him in his final exams, so Arata now has to agree. As the game progresses, Shia gets very close to Arata, and seeing this, Arata gets uncomfortable and says, "Don't get too close," to which Seiha replies, "I'm just playing according to the rules." The game reaches a point where Arata also gets confused about what to do because Seiha wants them to touch each other during the game, but Arata doesn't want that. Then Seiha blocks all his routes, and now Arata is completely trapped in the corner, so he has to touch Seiha. He says he surrenders, but Seiha refuses, saying it wouldn't be good for him if he surrenders. Now it's Arata's turn, and he has to place his foot under Seiha's, which was a very uncomfortable situation for him because he was now touching her. Seiha then starts saying strange things like, "True happiness is in winning, but you also find happiness where you get love or peace around you." Then she talks about dopamine release during dating, followed by erotic actions. I hope you all understand what I'm trying to say. Hearing this, Arata was traumatized, but Seiha wasn't done yet. She then talks about the human body, physical relationships, and marriage. In the end, to keep all these emotions connected, there is trust, which even science cannot explain properly. Because she doesn't know much about love, she also doesn't know much about trust. She asks if after living with a person for 50 years, do you start trusting them? Or is there a moment you share together? And can that person also be your younger brother? Hearing this, Arata was totally speechless and thinks, is she crazy or is she serious? What nonsense is this about love and destiny? All of this was too much for him, plus he had such a view in front of him. At that moment, Seiha falls on Arata because she was very tired. Arata says, "At least you could have fallen to the side." to which Seiha replies, I was very tired, so there was no use. But then she says her verification is complete, even though Arata wasn't very cooperative. In the end, Arata concludes that she was just overthinking, something he had said before. But Shia didn't listen because she needed to verify. Before leaving, she thanks Arata. After she leaves, Arata thinks was she making fun of him. Who plays Twister to verify their feelings? Frustrated, he shouts loudly. Just then, Uka arrives and asks why he is shouting. Since she heard Seiha's voice, she asks what they were talking about. Arata says nothing much, but then Uka says, let's have some fun. Then they were about to play a game. But before they began, Uka tell Arata that she practiced 30 hours every week. Arata remembers when they were kids, and he used to win games, and Uka used to try deadlocks on him. This was quite concerning because he remembers what Uka said. He thinks he might be the only guy in the whole house still worried about what Dad said. Finally, the gaming starts, and Uka beats Arata 5-0. Uka also starts teasing Arata. And seeing this, Arata thinks, she really seems very happy. Is this game really that fun? During the game, Uka gets very close to Arata, and he notices this too. He also says that her skills have really improved a lot. After that, Arata finally gets serious in the game and manages to defeat Uka twice in a row badly, which makes Uka very angry. Then suddenly, she traps him in a deadlock and says, if you surrender, I will let you go. Arata says, I surrender, but in his mind, he was thinking about how close they were. Then he suddenly grabs Uka and pins her down, and she quickly realizes this. He feels scared that maybe Uka might hit him more. But then Uka says, looks like you've grown up. Arata doesn't understand why she said that. After that, Uka leaves the place and immediately feels very shy, saying, who becomes a big brother at such useless times? On the other side, Arata doesn't understand why she said all this. After thinking about everything, he gets frustrated and again shouts loudly. At that moment, after Arata leaves, Kotono comes out from a closet, looking very shy as she saw everything. The next day, we see a normal day at school for all the siblings. At night, Arata meets his dad, who gives him a gift and asks how he is doing. He also asks if Arata likes someone, which shocks Arata. Then the scene cuts. On the other side, we see all sisters watching a drama where a love confession was happening. Banri really likes it because the confession is happening in the middle of nature and looks very beautiful. But Uka thinks it's cheap and boring. Then she describes her ideal type, a handsome guy with high education, high income, and confession at a rooftop restaurant with a night view. After that, Seiha shares her type. The guy should have goals and a roadmap to complete them, along with family planning. But they don't ask Kotono's opinion because she was still too young for these things. Then Minami says it doesn't matter where or how the confession is made. What matters is who is confessing. Somehow, all the sisters agree on this. They were now about to go to sleep, but suddenly Kotono stops them and says she likes Arata. Everyone was shocked and says, of course, we know you like him. But Kotono says, no, I don't just like him. I want to marry him. Since we aren't really siblings, I consider you all my love rivals. It's revealed that when they found out they aren't siblings, Kotono was the happiest. Then the scene cuts. On the other side, Arata was talking, asking why he needs to know all this. His dad tells him it's because he's the eldest son of the Shiunji family. No matter how strong a guy is, he will fall for a girl at some point. Arata asks why his dad married his mom. His dad says because of her good looks. But then he shares the real reason. His mom had a strong mouth but was gentle like sunlight, which perfectly matched a weak person like him. He asks if Arata still remembers the promise about the roommate, and Arata says yes, that his dad said when they grow up, he'll show them the entrance to another world. After that, he starts saying that no matter what happens, he will protect his brother and sisters so that their home remains completely happy. Then he leaves from there. After he leaves, his father, looking at a photo of his wife, says that her judgment was not wrong at all. Then the scene cuts. We are shown a mysterious scene where we see a letter. In the background, a little girl is shown. The letter says, Dear brothers and sisters, how are you? I hope you are doing well. On the other side, the girl was visiting a grave, and her maid praises her because she looks very good in her new clothes. At that moment, the girl's father arrives, who apparently was Arata and with white hairs. The letter also says, Your smiles are precious to me. At the same moment, some mysterious girl appears, but only half of her face is shown, so we have to guess who this girl is. At the end of the letter, it says, I love you all, and part 1 ends here. So guys, tell me in the comments who you think this girl is, the one who is going to marry Arata. To be honest, it's a mystery for me too. Let's see what happens next. If you want the next part, like the video and subscribe to the channel.